Hello everyone and welcome back to E2E, and no, my recording did not break. I am actually just standing in front of these glowing blocks. Okay, there is a reason we're standing in front of these glowing blocks though, because today it is time to build the magic spire. Yep, we are going to be building the building for the magic mods. Now the original plan, I was going to build 4 separate buildings, one wizard tower-ish per each mod, and then we're going to have floating islands kind of scattered throughout these floating islands over here. I thought about doing that, but I realized that's going to be very complicated and also going to take way longer than I think it needs to be, because I don't even know how much magic we're going to be doing since it's all done. So instead, what I think we're going to do, we have this Spire mountain right here. It's just kind of sitting here, you know? I was originally going to plan to put a little house up here, but I think this would be suited better for a giant wizard tower right at the top that goes all the way up, almost to build height, maybe a little bit smaller than that. We'll have to see. But the basis for this is going to be, there is a version of this wizard tower that exists in 4 different universes. One for each of the magic mods, so Blood Magic, Botania, Astral Sorcery, and Thaumcraft. But they're all 4 trying to exist at the same time in the same place. So it's going to kind of be like a magic meld type wizard tower just kind of on this spire here. And the reason we have these colors here is because each of these colors is associated with one of the mods: Blood Magic, Thaumcraft, Botania, and Astral Sorcery. And this is going to kind of be like the magical power, so to speak. I'm probably going to have cracks that go all throughout the mountain here. Going to have cracks in the actual building, and we're going to have floating islands all around this mountain. I think there's going to be 6 total. There's 2 19 by 19 multi-blocks that we need to put here. We need to put the Astral Sorcery like constellation one and the Blood Magic altar. So those are probably going to go on those sides. And then we're going to have 4 smaller islands. One for the Luminous Crafting Table, one for Botania, one for the Healing Pedestal that's going to go next to the Blood Magic one. We're going to have to figure out the alignment of these as we go, because I don't know how close the healing pedestal is going to need to be to the blood magic ritual and stuff like that. But the goal is going to be 6 floating islands, 2 big ones, 4 support ones with all of the magic that we need. Yeah, this is going to be a very long process to build because it's going to be very complicated. So I think what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to build a skeleton of the wizard tower, and then we're going to try to paint it, so to speak, by going through and like adding a blood magic clump right here, and then a crack of Botania, and like some Astral Sorcery over here, and then a little bit of Thaumcraft down here. I think that's probably going to be the goal. We'll get the wizard tower done first, and then we can work on the 6 surrounding islands. Once that's done, we can get it copied into the server, we can build it up nice, and then we'll see what we're doing from there. But I think let's just queue up the time lapse. Let's design a wizard tower. All right, well, obviously we're not starting building yet. We needed to get a block palette first, so here's the block palette. Yeah, this is going to be extremely messy, as you can see. So this is going to be the Astral Sorcery side, obviously. We got blue glowing stuff, we got all the marble, we got sooty marble. I put in gold and some like gold framed glass as well, just add a little bit of, you know, more than just blue, black, and white. I also might throw in a couple celestial collector crystals as well as maybe some normal ones as well, just to kind of have them. I feel like that would add to the building. Not going to use too many of these though, because they are kind of expensive, so you know, we'll add a couple. And also liquid starlight. I'm going to have a liquid for every single one of these, so liquid starlight was the obvious choice here. All right, so over here we got Thaumcraft. Basically, you know, we got the purple glow, elemental brass, we've got thaumium, we've got the arcane stone. We also got some void stone. This is from Chisel, but it really does add to the Thaumcraft theme. I went ahead and threw obsidian and alchemical constructs in there as well, and the 2 wood types just in case we need them. Also, I kind of went with this like iron grated glass. That does seem like you're trying to contain something, so that's kind of what we went for there. Alrighty, moving on to the Botania. We've of course got the lime glowing stuff. I've also got floating flowers. I don't know which flowers I'm going to go with, but I just threw pure daisy down because they're easy to make. I've also got shimmering mushrooms as well as lime flowers, lime petal blocks. We're going to use a liquid experience because that really does look like Botania, you know? And then I also found like these flower stems from Biomes of Plenty, so that should hopefully help. So those hopefully will look good. I think we're going to have to go find a biome for that anyway. Also, chiseled emerald blocks. We got some cellular blocks. These are pretty easy to craft. Not sure what they do, but they're easy to make, so we can go ahead and use some of those. Also went with ethereal wood from Biomes of Plenty. It does look kind of green, as well as shimmer wood, living rock, and dream wood. And for the glass, we're going to either go with Alpha Glass, Mana Glass, or the Bifrost block, which is kind of rainbow. Moving on to blood magic, we of course have the red. We have a whole bunch of different types of nether bricks, small bricks, large bricks, flesh blocks. We also have flesh from Biomes of Plenty, liquid blood from Tinker's Construct, blood magic, liquid blood. Yeah, saw that one coming. And then also we're going to go with Cocobolo wood. This stuff right here is absolutely perfect for blood magic because it kind of looks like solidified like blood flows. Yeah, that's going to be absolutely perfect. Unfortunately though, Cocobolo is not something you can just get. You have to make it. Yeah, you need desert acacia and dark oak in tree breeding or a mutatron or something. I think Potato Master's done this before, so I'm either going to have to research it or he's going to help me get this. But after we get the tree, we can of course grow a bunch of wood for that. Alright, so that is our block palette. I won't lie, I'm a bit nervous starting this because this is going to be very, very complicated and it's going to be very difficult to look good, so... Alright, wish me luck. Let's do some building. And here we have it. The outline is complete. Now, as you can see, I went for a kind of a spiky theme, you know, because this is a wizard tower after all. I kind of wanted it to make it look like slightly evil, but also slightly not evil. I think what I'm going to go for is the main two mods that it's going to be Astral Sorcery and Botania, but then it's going to kind of be like corrupted with blood magic and Thaumcraft. I think that's going to like turn out the best, so that's probably what I'm going to go for. I also think I'm going to add like some fragmented parts, some parts that are like floating off, some parts that are like getting eaten by a rift. There's probably going to be like portals, rituals, and rifts just kind of around everywhere just to make it look more like a wizard tower. This is going to be very difficult and it's probably going to take a long time, so wish me luck, I'm going to need it. And here it is, the Wizard Tower in all of its glory. Now, as you can see, there's a few things that I still need to do, like light the portal and change the top up here. The reason the top up here is like this is because we ran into the build height, and this is centered on a 2x2 because I wanted the windows to be nice. So this is all made with chisel. So I'm going to have to chisel some of the blood magic stuff and then actually get the top up here looking nice. That's for later. You've also probably noticed there's diamond blocks floating everywhere. These are going to be where I put collector crystals and then just kind of focus them onto random astral sorcery blocks. I figured since we've got a big thing for Thaumcraft, a kind of big thing for Blood Magic, and a big thing for Britannia, we may as well do something for Astral as well. So that is where we are going to put collector crystals, focus them in, and have some nice light beams. That is the entirety of the tower built. The next thing we need to do is we need to build the floating islands that have all of the actual multi-block structures. So I did make a list of all of these. We need two 19x19s, one of which is for the Blood Magic altar, the other of which is for the Astral Sorcery like constellation focusing thing. I don't even know what that's called, but it's also 19x19. So we need two of those. We have the Starlight Infuser. We also have the 11x11 Astral Sorcery Luminous Crafting Table, the 7x7 Starlight Infuser, the 5x5 Starlight Focusing thing that will go next to the crafting. We also will need an island for Britannia. This is not going to be the Britannia Island. We're going to have another one with all of the Britannia stuff on it. And then we're also going to have to put our 9x9 ritual pedestal with the regeneration somewhere near the Blood Magic Island so we can actually get the regeneration. So, next step, build some islands, maybe decorate this, and then we have to go gather a lot of different materials to build. Material gathering is not going to be particularly enjoyable, so why don't we go ahead and build these islands? And here they are, all of the floating islands that we need. So I did notice that we didn't really have anything to put on the Thaumcraft island, so I just kind of built it and had it just kind of be fragmented. I also, if you could notice, put some of the transparent luminous blocks here to make it look like it was actually being cracked in half. So I don't know, I just added a little bit to make it look nicer. Yep, we got our Thaumcraft one, we got our 4.5 astral sorcery ones. We got the ritual crafting table, the starlight focusing thing, and of course the attunement altar. The other one is the ritual pedestal that goes with the blood magic one. So I just kind of hooked it up with a chain to the blood magic one, as in to represent like this is kind of keeping this here. And we, it added a little bit of detail to make it look like it was being broken, because it is. And we can put our ritual pedestal on there and get regeneration so we can actually use our blood altar. And of course, we've got our Britannia Island over here. Now, there's a bunch of these green blocks on here. This is a placeholder for the actual flowers, mana spreaders, mana pools, and the gateway portal. We are going to have to, actually do Britannia on here, so I figured I'd just lay it out to make sure I didn't forget anything. All right, so that is it for the islands. I think I'm just going to place those in on the server, because I mean, I'm going to have to gather the materials anyway, so I may as well make these all their own separate little blueprints and then place them in on the server. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it, because then if I try to copy these while they're at the base of the tower, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. I also made a couple of edits to the tower. The most notable one is down here. I took out the lightning from this portal and instead did some glowy corruption on the actual mountain. Kind of similar to the islands, but it's got all 4 mods worth of color all the way around, so that just adds a little bit more detail to the mountain. All right, so I think with this being all done, we can go ahead and hop into the server and get the resources for this. All right, here we are back on the server. Now, I went ahead and copied over the blueprints from just the tower. That is what we're going to get started on, because the islands themselves shouldn't be too difficult. All we're going to need is dirt, grass, and the various multi-block structures. That shouldn't be too bad. The hard part, obviously, is going to be the wizard tower. So if we take a look at the tower base here, I guess I could just go open up the material list. We're going to need a whole bunch of stuff. Most of this isn't too bad. Arcane stone's easy. These are all just emeralds and diamonds. A luminous block. The luminous block's going to be annoying. If we take a look at the recipe just for the white one, we need luminous powder and the dye. And luminous powder is glowstone, a glowing mushroom, and glass. And a glowing mushroom comes from a nuclear craft glowing mushroom, which comes from a mushroom and glowstone. So that's like 6 different crafting steps that I'm going to have to do. I'm probably just going to set up a pattern for that so we don't have to deal with it. Anyways, we got marble, cocobolo wood. That one is going to be very difficult. We're going to have to try to breed this somehow. So we're either going to use a mutatron or a genetic replicator. Probably the mutatron is what we're going to need. So we need energy, we need mutagen, and we need desert acacia pollen and a dark oak sapling. I'm sure we can figure out a way to do this. I don't know. I'm going to get everything else before we do this, because we're going to put all the I need to get these materials after the I can get this right now, let me just craft it materials. Mutagen's probably going to be the hardest part, because we're going to need to somehow get mutagen. It looks like the way to get this is going to be radioactive materials. This is from nuclear craft, this is from IC2, and this is from nuclear craft. So basically we need plutonium 238 or a block of 242. Now, how do you actually get these isotopes? Let me go see if I actually have these. Ah, perfect. So if we take a look here, a block of 242 will make 9,000 millibuckets. And in this little drawer we got right here, we've got 64 stacks of 242 oxide, which of course we can just run through a simple furnace to grab normal 242. So that's where we're going to get that. So that's all good. We just have to figure out exactly how that works and also how to get that acacia pollen here. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out, but I'm sure we can figure it out. All right, so next up, dirt easy, marble easy, giant flower stems. Now this one's going to be weird. I don't actually know how to get these. I'm fairly certain there's a giant flower biome in Biomes of Plenty, and I would assume that we have to find one of those. So why don't we look up flower field from Biomes of Plenty? Let's see if there's one. Yep, 2,000 blocks away. Although this might not work because I feel like that is the old terrain generation. Maybe it's a flower island, 6,000 blocks away. Maybe it's over there. I'm not sure. We're going to have to go find one of those, so that is going to be an adventure. So Cocobolo and giant flowers are currently the problems. We are going to ignore the grass blocks, gravel, stone, all that other stuff, because that we did take a blueprint of some of the mountain, and we obviously don't need to place the mountain, so we're just going to ignore those. Lapis is easy. More luminous blocks, lime petal blocks, that should be easy. Lime shimmering mushrooms, I believe that to be easy. Yep, that's just floral lime powder and a mushroom. No problems there. Living wood's easy. Marble's easy. That is part of the terrain. Nether bricks with chisel, oak leaves, that's probably part of a plant. Voidstone, I believe that's just end stone and purpur. Yep, purple petal blocks, purple shimmering mushroom, transparent luminous blocks, blah, 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 blah. 5,300 stone that we could ignore, 22 blocks of thaumium, and some marker blocks. So that's not too bad for the base. Now the tower is where the fun part's going to be. Alf glass, we're going to have to run a bunch of glass through the elven portal. Amber blocks, I hope we have enough amber for this. I'm not actually sure. We definitely don't. So we're going to have to get some more amber. That's fine. Arcane's easy, luminous blocks, diamonds, emeralds, redstone, 12 blocks of terra steel. Luckily for me, I have the terra steel essence, so we're good there. 2 blocks of elemental brass, it's going to be annoying. More cocobolo wood, some dirt. I don't know actually where this dirt is, so I don't think we're actually going to be needing this, although I'll have to double check. Great marble's easy. Flesh we have to grab from the nether. I believe there's a flesh biome nearby that we can just grab it from. Flower stems again, whole bunch of glass panes, glimmering living wood, annoying, grass blocks, sure, great wood, yep, lapis, blood tiles. We're gonna have to grab a bunch of weak blood shards, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Mushrooms, petal blocks, luminous again, living wood, marble, nether brick, oak wood, origin leaves. We're gonna have to grow a bunch of origin trees. That should be easy. Void stone, purple glass, Restonia crystals. That should be pretty simple. It's not the enchanted ones, it's just the normal ones. So all we have to do is chuck redstone in front of the atomic disassembler thingy. Rune marble, rune void stone, spruce, thaumium, void stone, and marker blocks. Okay, so that's not too bad. There's just a few things that I can't gather yet because we have to go find them or make them. So I think what I'm going to do in the meantime, I'm just going to gather all the materials that we have access to and can craft at the moment. So that's basically everything except for the flower stems and the cocobolo wood. And then we will cut back when I have that, and we will go on an adventure to get the other things. So, crafting time. Here we are, half an hour later. Yes, it did take that long just to craft all these things. We have gotten everything that we need for the most part. So there's a few things that we obviously still need to get. First being cocobolo wood. This is going to be the hardest of them because it has to do with a bunch of forestry stuff, which I never really did. So I went ahead and marked everything that we need over on the left here. So first off, we need to actually get the sapling, which is done in a mutatron with mutagen, power, and a genetics labware. So let's go ahead and make some of those. The labware is pretty cheap. It's just a diamond and some glass panes. Let's just go ahead and make a full stack. I doubt we'll need that much, but at least we'll have it. All right, so the mutatron also looks like a very not so fun crafting recipe. I don't even know what half of this stuff is. I hope it's not going to be too bad, but we're not going to look into it just yet. The reason we're not looking into that yet is because I want to get the other things first. We need to grab a desert acacia pollen, which I believe you can get by finding a desert acacia. I'm not sure what this actually is. I hope I have them. I'm just going to go try to get pollen from a normal acacia and see what happens. Oh, I just right click. Okay, so that gives me normal acacia, though, and I don't want that. I want the other kind. I want, like, jungle or desert acacia. How does one acquire that? We're going to have to either create one or just run around and try to find one. I'd really like to not run around and try to find one. I'd like to just, you know, make it, but I don't know how annoying it's going to be, so I guess we can go take a look. So we need a teak sapling and a balsa sapling to get this, and a teak is a dark oak in a jungle, which we can buy a jungle. Balsa is teak and acacia. So we could definitely do that. Okay, you know what? Let's just try to do that. But of course, to even get to that step, we're going to need to make that mutatron. So let's go ahead and make that. So what do we need for this? I'm assuming, yeah, we only have the brass and the sturdy casing. Genetics processor. I'm not sure if these are used for anything else. Oh, they are. They're used to make a resonant cell frame. Oh, cool. Okay, well, it doesn't look to be too bad. It's just printed cells, pure quartz, advanced circuits, and ender pearl. And there's our couple of genetics processors. I'm going to put that one back. I might want to make a recipe for that later, but hey, later. All right, so we've got that part done. Next up, we need the B receptacle, which that's just materials. I think we're missing a gold pressure plate. We need a power module, and we also need some bronze gear. I think I have a recipe for that. I do. And then we also need a mutagen tank as the last thing, which is just a Certus quartz tank and some plates. Oh, that's actually not too bad. It's just quartz glass. And then we can make the mutatron. Now I'm just going to go put this over here. We need to get mutagen. So we actually need to grab a mutagen processor, which is more crafting. Yay. Doesn't look to be too bad. It's just 2 more power modules and a mutagen tank. I'll just go ahead and do that. And there's our mutagen processor. All right, so now, of course, we need to gather some 242, and I believe we had already figured out a good way to get that. Yep, there's a whole bunch right here. And there we have our full stack of plutonium 242. I think that'll be just fine. So hopefully I can just put this in here. It should make it. Now that's going a little slow, so let's kind of speed that up just a little bit. And I'm hoping I can just pipe it straight into the other thing. Yep, it just went in straight in there. Perfect. Okay, so that's our mutatron and our mutagen producer. So now we actually need to grab some of the saplings that we needed. So let's see. Cocobolo is dark oak and desert acacia. Desert acacia is going to be teak and balsa. Teak is going to be dark oak and jungle, or we use jungle and a dark oak pollen, which is what we're going to do. Go ahead and grow this on the front lawn, as well as the jungle. So we need a jungle sapling and a dark oak pollen. So let's go grab a piece of pollen with our pollen thing. All right, quick little research trip later. Turns out if you put a tree into the portable analyzer here, it should just turn into the forestry type. Yep, perfect. And that will then fit into the mutatron over here. Yes, perfect. And now it's going. Hopefully that will make what we need. Yes, the teak sapling. Perfect. Now I am going to go ahead and grow this, although I don't know if it is any kind of special thing. Like, do I need to put this in like a 2x2 or something? Nope. No, I don't. All right, so we need a balsa sapling and teak pollen. So we do need the pollen, so now we need to grab a balsa sapling, and balsa is going to be an acacia and teak pollen. So we actually need 2 teak pollen. Perfect. I am going to go grow this again. That is a thin tree, dude. Jeez. I'm kind of scared that I'm not going to get a sapling out of that. So do I have anything with fortune on it? I don't think I do. Oh, God. Now, technically, this does have luck 3 on it, but I don't know if that makes a difference. So here we go. Okay, well, we got 2, so that's not horrible. And then we can take our balsa sapling, our last piece of teak pollen, and that will hopefully make cocobolo. And then we're done. Please. Ah. We're not done. We have desert acacia. We can grab our desert acacia pollen, and then we can make cocobolo sapling. Oh my god, that was a process. Thank you, forestry. Although I guess gendistry did make it pretty easy, so that's good at least. All right, there we go. Cocobolo sapling completed. Thank goodness for that. Now, hopefully these don't require any kind of weird growth patterns. I hope I can just grow them, because, like, man, this has been all of those leaves and I get 1 sapling back? Jeez, dude. Okay, well, at least we have the wood. And it looks like these trees are quite large, too, so this is going to be quite simple to get the rest of the stuff. Alrighty, cocobolo planks have been acquired for both halves of the wizard tower. Alright, now as you can see in the background, we are currently in the nether because we need to grab some flesh blocks for the other one. This one we don't need any. But we are also going to need to grab giant flower stems. Now, the reason we're in the nether, and as you can see, we are currently 850 blocks away from the portal. I have found the location of a flower biome at these coordinates in the nether, these coordinates in the overworld. So we're going to go ahead and portal on over there, and hopefully that actually turns out to be a flower biome. But stopped here to record because there's a flesh biome right here, which is what we need. I think we're going to go ahead and grab a bunch of flesh. And also, there's blood pools here. Unfortunately, I did not bring a bucket, so we're going to have to grab blood from other ways. But then again, I could also just come back here. So let's see if we can grab some flesh. Probably going to just take it from... I know we're going to need some for the floating island as well, so let's just see how much we can get. Oh, and it drops flesh chunks. Oh, interesting. Can you turn these back into the blocks? Oh, you can, but it's not very efficient. So we need to grab like a silk touch then. There we go. Yeah, that should be enough flesh blocks. That's probably way too many flesh blocks, as a matter of fact. And now these are just going to be here. But hey, it's better to have them than to not have them. Okay, so there's our flesh blocks. Now we got to go grab our flower petals. Now let's see. Where are the coordinates? 967, 184. So it's like this way. All right, now here's to hoping that this is actually the flower biome. Ah, and would you look at that. Flower biome. This is exactly what we need. Now the real question is, can you actually grow these, right? I'm fairly certain you can if you have these flowering grass blocks. So I'm going to grab my Silk Touch pickaxe again here. And let's go grab a couple of these. I'm pretty sure you can also make these, although I wasn't really sure if you can actually do this, so I didn't do it first. I wanted to actually go to the biome first. So let me go ahead and grab a little bit of this. Do we want these tall flower thingies? I guess so. And it looks like they don't drop much, so let me go chop down a red one and see if it's any different. Looks like they don't drop anything, so you'd have to have Silk Touch in order to get those. Okay, well, at least we have some giant flower stems now, which is good. If we can't grow these, we'll just come back and rip through this entire biome. If we can grow them, then there probably isn't a need to come back here. All right, here's to hoping that this does actually work. Oh, it does not. Okay, so it looks like we might be tearing up a biome. Well, you know what? It was worth a try. All right, unfortunately, that flower biome did not have enough giant flower stems for everything. We got exactly as many as we needed for the actual tower, plus 11 of the 31 that we need for the base. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it, and then we're just going to kind of use some building paste to fill in the rest. Hopefully I don't miss any, although I think it's going to be pretty obvious that there's going to be air spaces where there should be blocks. So anyways, I went ahead and I've also got the mountain prepared. I've also had to carve out all the sides here so we can put in the glowing cracks. Hopefully I've got everything where it needs to be. I don't know if I do. I've flown around here about 6-7 times, and it looks like I've got everything. Here we go. This should be the base of the tower right now. That actually placed in pretty fast. Okay, there we go. And it looks like we do actually need to fill in this with dirt here. That's kind of to be expected. I've lined this up exactly where it needs to be, so it should just be fine to click it again. Just the one time, though. But other than that, everything should be good to go. So I'll go get this pasted in and get the next part of the tower ready to be built. Alrighty, here we go. I have decided that since the dank knolls are in my inventory, I was placing down the giant flower stems from the dank knolls instead of using the paste. So I'm just going to go ahead and build the second part of the tower. And as you can see, It is quite large. Okay, and also, as you can see, Woodstock is over here thinking about stealing my emeralds, which is quite rude. But anyways, shall we get this placed? Let me just go over this once again just to make sure we have everything that we need. All green all the way down to the marker blocks, of which we don't need. All right, here we go. Wizard Tower is coming in. Boom! And that is what I call a Wizard Tower. Perfect. Okay, so now that we are out of stems, I can actually go place the rest of them down there. I can also go ahead and get the collector crystals placed in as well, so we can get rid of these diamond blocks. And I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of liquid blood and pour it down the side, which would simulate, you know, this dagger actually doing something. Alrighty. And there we go. We got a nice couple of floaty crystals down there and all the way up here. Now, I did just kind of focus them in on some random block. I think it looks fine for now. I might want to add a couple more focus points for each crystal. I'm not really sure. I'll probably tweak it just a little bit every now and again. But for now, I think that looks pretty good. And also, I added a whole bunch of the extra glowy stuff down on the mountainside. I tried to keep it kind of segmented off like per mod. Like we got blue here, we got the red over here, and it kind of wraps around to this side. We got the purple coming from the portal, and then we've got the green coming from the Botania side. I honestly think it looks pretty good, and I think we're good on the actual tower. So now, obviously, we need to get all of the islands in place. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do the opposite sides, like Blood Magic is going to go here, Astral Sorcery is going to go here, Thaumcraft all the way over there, Botania maybe like right there. Not really sure. I'll probably get them situated, materials gathered, and ready to place in the background, and then we'll just go ahead and place all of them anyways. And then we'll just probably go ahead and place them all in. More material gathering for me. Majority of it is going to be dirt, but we have dirt. We should be fine. Alrighty, here we are. As you can see by my hotbar, we are ready to get this thing placed. And the sun is coming up, so we should probably hurry up with this, because it's a lot easier to see the blueprints in the dark. But as you can see, we have all of the materials gathered, and yeah, it was mostly just dirt. But I've got everything laid out as well, and we're running out of daylight, so. Alright, so as you can see, this is kind of the best vantage point, but we don't really have a good vantage point in general. So as you can see, there is the Ritual Pedestal Island, the Crafting Island, Blood Magic Island, Botania Island, you can kind of see it behind the rift there. Starlight Infuser goes right there, and then of course the Thaumcraft goes right there. That's basically where everything is going to go. And yeah, I did have to make 6 different copy-paste gadgets because I did want to have everything placed kind of at the same time so we could, you know, bounce things off of each other, right? Because if I placed one thing wrong, I'd have to destroy the entire thing, and that would be a nightmare, and I didn't really want to do that. So I guess we can go ahead and take a look at them closer now that we can actually see where they are, because it is turning daytime. I decided to put this big one in the back here. Originally, I was going to do, like, opposite sides, but then I realized the Blood Magic Island is kind of perfect right there. It's opposite from the side with Blood Magic on it, but it does have this kind of, you know, the broken Astral Island that's been chained to the Blood Magic Island is by the Astral side. So that's perfect. That one's going there. This other big one's going to go there. Now, as you can see, they are slightly lower levels, and everything is not on the same level here. You know, that just makes it look better. So anyways, got the big one going here. We have the Starlight Crafting, also known as the Luminous Crafting Table, goes right over here. The Blood Magic Island, as you saw, goes right over here. The Botania Island goes here, which is quite a bit higher than this one, but it's a little bit higher than this one, but also lower than this part. So everything is at a nice height. And then, of course, we've got the Starlight Infuser right here, and then finally the fragmented Thaumcraft Island. And here we go. All right, first island is going in. Boom. Iridescent altar, here we go. Nice. Next up is the big ol' Blood Magic Island. Let me come over here so we can get a nice view of the place. Boom. Botania. Nice. Second to last, the Starlight Infuser. Boom. And finally, the Thaumcraft. Bam. Look at that. This is a very, very cool building now that all the islands are in place. I am quite a big fan of this. Nice. Okay, well, the next thing that we need to do is we need to actually get these all, you know, put in place. Most of these don't even work right now. The Botania Island looks like it's just turned green. The Ritual Pedestal doesn't even work. We don't even have the Blood Magic Altar, and there's a bunch of these holes everywhere that you can see. That is where the liquids are going to be going. I also decided I want to put a whole bunch of liquid starlight around this thing, which is going to be kind of annoying to grind. Same thing over here, putting more liquid starlight. Botania doesn't have any liquids. I don't think we need it. Blood Magic, we're going to put some blood in, and for Thaumcraft, I think I'm just going to put a little bit of corruption there, and then maybe I'll put a Ritual Altar there. Maybe I'll just put the compact machine. Haven't really decided. But that is what we're going to do next. We are going to get everything put into place so this is an actually functioning building. All right, well, here I am back again. Unfortunately, I have not made any progress because I realized I need a lot of liquid starlight, and I really don't want to farm that. So instead of right-clicking on these for the next 25 minutes, I'm just going to go set up a nice little farm for them. I can repurpose most of this setup to basically do the exact same thing. So automated user, if we set this on a 3x3 and we turn the preview on, turn the preview off here. So this will automatically use in this 3x3 setting. So if we actually were to put some aquamarines in here, oh, those just got eaten up by my vacuum that I placed. Okay, we put these in here. It should, yeah, put it right in there. And then we can just use a block placer or maybe another automatic user with buckets that will bucket it out and then pipe that into some kind of encapsulator. I bet I could probably use the one from Thermal. Fluid transposer. Yeah, there you go. We can just put it on the empty function and we can put any bucket of anything and it will just go into the fluid transposer, which then we can take to a pipe. Let's go ahead and move everything over. I am going to go ahead and probably put this down up here. So I guess we can put it here. We can put, we're going to have to get a second one. So we're going to need to put that probably right here. And then we can just place them like this. Hopper, chest, in goes the aquamarine. Set that to 3x3. And there we go. So now those are all working. Anyways, we can go ahead and place this here. Set to 3x3. And we need to feed this thing buckets, so let me go grab, I guess we could use one bucket. We don't really need more than that, do we? And it's obviously not going to work yet because none of these are at 1,000 millibuckets. But what we can do is we can put our thermal fluid transposer down here, and we can set side configurations to be both. And then we should just be able to run it from here to there. So this needs to be both extract and insert. And it looks like it isn't working. Oh. Empty. There we go. And then it gets, the bucket gets sucked back out, put back in, sucked back out, put back in. Perfect. Well, that was pretty simple. And then all we have to do is take a liquid pipe out from here and put it into the ender tank. We don't even need a liquid pipe. We could just have it be the output. And then hopefully if I were to just do this, that just dumps from this tank into there. Or do I need to like turn this nozzle? Oh, I do. Oh, that's actually really cool. Okay, so now that's on export. It's exporting into the system. We should have a whole bunch of liquid starlight down here now, right? 4 buckets. Perfect. So now all we have to do to get that fully up and working is to add some aquamarine, which we have 74,000 essence for this, so I don't think we're going to run out anytime soon. There you go. Now, am I ever going to need this liquid starlight farm for anything else? Most likely not. But hey, you know what? We built a cool farm. And that's all that matters. So now I actually do have to go get all the other fluids that I need and put everything in place. Yay. Alrighty, and here we go. Everything has been put into place. As you can see over here in the Starlight Infuser, we got the Starlight in place. And I made an extra resonant wand to sit over here. Thaumcraft Island just has the compact machine in the middle of a little corrupted area. Got the Starlight, or the iridescent altar over here. It's got all of its things back in it. I also decided to put all of the Astral Sorcery stuff over here just so we have quick access to it. I did have to move this island because the crystal didn't reach, but it does now, and honestly, it does kind of look pretty good with it just being like that. Kind of looks like the islands are merged together, which I think that looks pretty cool. Right over here, we got all the liquid starlight in place over on the infusion, whatever this thing's called. This did take a while because our starlight farm is not too fast, but it is fast enough to get this done in a reasonable amount of time. Got all of our Botania stuff back in place. Our mana's good, our flowers are good, everything is linked up, and our portal is back up and running. And of course, we've got our blood magic thing as well. Now, I did decide to put red glass here instead of blood so I could actually walk up the altar. And another thing that's kind of annoying, the ritual, if I'm standing here, doesn't actually, properly give us the ritual. But if we move a single block closer, we get the regeneration effect. So unfortunately, I'm either going to have to attune this to Jellu, or I'm just going to have to stand on this side whenever I'm doing blood magic. Other than that, that's not too bad. All right, last thing that we did, we added a floor over to here. Nothing's going to go up there. I'm just going to put everything down in this unfinished basement that will continue to be unfinished. This is the stuff that I don't particularly need anymore, or I don't need just yet. Eventually we're going to need the alchemy table for stuff, but we'll get there when we get there. I also added the blood flow down the side of the tower, and that is the tower and the side buildings complete. There's one final thing that I want to do before we end the episode, though, and that is, since we now have all 30 levels of our Astral Sorcery thing, we may as well get these perks. Now, there is a nice little website that I will be linking in the description that lets you plan out your perks, and I want to go with Avitas because that gives you maximum life. I've got a nice little path planned out that gives me 44 extra hearts At least that's what the calculator said. So that's going to be very, very good. So that's what we're going to do. But currently we are tuned to Visio to get our experience. Now we need to reset that. There's two ways to do that. You can either use a shifting star to completely reset everything, or you can make an irradiant star attuned to the constellation you want to respec it and keep the experience. So that's what we're going to do. All we need is some saplings, the shifting star, and some various other astral things. And the shifting star isn't too bad in itself either. We should have everything we need, so we can go ahead and craft this. There we go. Still don't know what these flares are doing. Go away. All right, and all we have to do now is we can make the irradiating star. Now, of course, we need to put our Avitas attuned crystal into here. Here we are. And then this should allow us to make this. Perfect. Now, of course, it is going to want to have these things in the surrounding blocks, so we are going to have to do that. All right, what are we waiting on? Is something supposed to happen? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, irradiant star. Now, supposedly... Nope, I just stepped in the liquid starlight decoration there. Now I have night vision. So apparently I'm supposed to just hold this. Oh, there we go. The light subtly shifts. Perfect. Now we should be able to go into our perk tree and get this set up. Perfect. All right, so just looking on that website, it looks like you can export a link directly to the preset that I chose. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the description down below if you want to see what I chose. Alrighty, there we go. This is the tree that I'm working with. Basically, I just went out and selected everything that said more maximum life and a % increase to the effectiveness of perks. As you can see, we have no additional perk points up here. We've used all 30 of them. And we're already up to blue hearts. So the way that the hearts go, it goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue. So it's basically a rainbow. So we have 10 for red, 20 for orange, 30 for yellow, 40 for green. We're at 45. So now we're going to go stand at the regeneration thing, and it's going to go up. Oh my god. No, brother. I don't even know how much health we have. I'm at like ice blue. And the best part about that is that can keep going up if we eat more random foods. Eventually, I do want to do that just to see how high I can push this health thing. But like, geez, dude, I have so much health. Potato Master's on the server. Why don't we just go ask him to look at our health bar and see how much health we have? I need a favor.
Oh.
Look at my health and tell me how much I have.
202.11.
Jesus Christ. Yep, I think 200 and some health is pretty good. That's a lot of hearts. I'm basically unkillable at this point. Even if I upgraded my armor, I don't know how much of a difference it would make. Alrighty, and with that being said, I think that is going to be it for this episode. We got a good amount of building done. We got this entire magic building done. We no longer have to think about magic. It is over. All right. Well, I think next episode we're probably going to do some progression here. And what better way to get progression than going to a tier 3 tech mod? I think we're going to go after environmental tech. I don't know how far we're going to get. I don't even know if we're going to need to make the tier 6s of some of these things. I've done a little bit of looking into it. It seems like the tier 6 ore miner I don't need, because the only thing that this does that the tier 5 doesn't is make draconium, and we have draconium seeds. So I think we're probably just going to end up making a tier 5. We're going to go as far as we can for the solar panels. Maybe we'll make a resource miner. Who knows? Honestly, I'm just excited to get some progress done. That's going to be it for this episode. Next episode, we are going to be doing environmental tech. Goodbye.